What up, everybody? This is your boy B-Rob, and I'm back with another edition of the Random Rambles with Rob podcast. First and foremost, I had to make sure this shit was recording. But secondly, I'd like to thank you, the listener, for coming back each and every week or however you listen to podcast. If you're a brand new listener, I appreciate you very much for giving my show a try. Hopefully you some of the fallout from Comic Palooza. I handed out some business cards and everything. That was my first comic book convention that I went to, and I did a show live there on the showroom floor. So hopefully I got some people dripping in over from Comic Palooza. So that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty fucking awesome now that I think about it. But I digress. If you're a new listener, I appreciate you. And we're just gonna roll right into this episode. I got another guest with me, pulled from the ether of the internet and whatnot. Usually, how it go down for me when I choose my guests and whatnot is, sometimes it's people that I listen to their podcast frequently, or we just frequent and are cordial on the internet. So, you know, I've retweeted some of his tweets. He retweeted some of my tweets. I think we might even share one of those little secret podcast tweet DMs or whatever, to where we all just in a damn group together retweeting each other's shit and talking trash and whatnot. Yes. But significance of why I picked him for this particular reason is May 23rd, which is 2 days from this recording, which I don't even know when this motherfucker gonna be out. This man is recording his 100th episode, or it might already be recorded. I don't know how he do his production in the background. I ain't in on the details. But 100 episodes, and me being a podcaster, that's a big thing. I can remember my 100th episode not too long ago, and it's a big milestone in the podcasting community. And I just want to get in on the journey. I just want to know what it took to get to 100 episodes, and maybe I can sneak and extract a couple of details from it as to what episode 100 might entail. But that really won't matter because this episode will be out after 100. So I'm talking a lot of shit right now. Anyway.
Well, that's perfect. Then I can tell you everything.
Yeah.
If that's the case,
you know what?
This is out after 100. I can tell you everything.
Okay. So basically, this is my plotting scheme. I want you to tell me everything, and then I'm gonna put this out early before you're 100.
So
I should have said that. I revealed my plotting scheme.
That's a brilliant plan.
but as you heard, joining me here on the showroom floor of the Random Rounds with Rob is Delvin Cox from the Delvin Cox Experience.
What's up, everybody? You probably know who I am, or you probably don't. I'm Delvin Cox, host of the Delvin Cox Experience, the podcast in which each week I'm on a one-man mission to unite our culture through diversity. Mm-hmm. And it's been awesome ride, to say the least. And interesting fact, I don't know if you know about this or not. Mm-hmm. We have a mutual friend.
Really?
Somebody who's often recommended me to go on your podcast.
Word.
And he's also recommended me to have you on my podcast.
Do tell, spill the beans.
Mr. Jay Sandlin.
Oh, snap.
He has mentioned you several times and said, you know who would be good on your podcast? Rob. I said, you know what? You're right.
Good.
And I said, I should contact Rob. And then the whole episode 100 thing started happening. And I got so busy, I never contacted Rob.
See, the good old brother Sandlin. That's how that go down. See,
and he mentioned it multiple times to me.
And he never mentioned you to me. So, I mean, I guess this was meant to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it works, man. It's just like, you know, if it was meant to happen, it's happening.
So, yeah, this is great. I'm happy to be on. I'm glad this is happening. Yeah. I'm going to have to get you on my podcast now because it's only fair.
Word. Can I be on 100?
That was already recorded.
Damn. All right.
Hold on.
Well, edit me in post.
Just thought about something.
Yeah.
If you can get something in by tomorrow, you can be on 100.
Oh, like a voicemail or something like that?
Yes.
Shit, I can do that right now.
There you go. So the faster you can get that sent to me, the most likely you can be on 100. Easily.
Yeah, just turn your recorder on and record what I'm about to say right now.
Let me.
Damn, can you do that? I was just bullshitting, but hell, shit, fuck it.
I was about to set it up, but
let's do it. Do it. See if we can make it happen.
Let me see if I can figure out Audacity real quick to see if I can get this recorded.
Yeah. You got. I know if anything, if you're gonna be recording my side, you're gonna have to be quiet or mute your audio so we don't get the echo double effect going on.
Yeah, matter of fact, I got an idea what I can do.
You see this, ladies and gentlemen, this podcast is at its, working together, making shit happen. It's podcasting at its finest.
All right. I'm going to mute my mic real quick. Right. I'm going to let you talk. But hold up. I'm going to let you know when to go first. I want to give a test first.
Yeah, all you have to do is hold up one finger, then I know when to go. Yo, this your boy B-Rob from the Random Rounds with Rob podcast, wishing you, Mr. Cox.
Hold up.
Oh, shit. Now you fucked it up.
I don't know if it caught it. That's what I was like. Let me make sure
Man, you didn't expended all my energy.
Well, that didn't work.
Oh, snap.
I'm going to have to use Audacity now. I tried to do it another way to make it easier.
Yeah.
That damn sure didn't work. Let's try this way. Talking to the mic, Rob.
Talking to the mic, Rob.
I don't think that's going to work either.
Oh, snap. Oh, snap.
I'm quite sure this is thrilling podcasting.
Yeah, they're seeing behind the curtain. Well, they're hearing behind the curtain because they can't see shit.
Oh, man. But
yeah, this is what we do, man. We independent podcasters, baby. We got to stick together.
All right, that worked.
That worked? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me shut the fuck up. You say something. Hold on one second. I had to change one thing. Now I'm going to shut up and let you do something. Okay. Give me a tech and then say it.
Yeah.
When I put my finger up, you can go.
All right. Yeah. Giggity goop. Shazam. What up? This your boy B-Rob from the Random Rounds with Rob podcast, wishing you, Mr. Cox. And even when I say that, it sounds like I'm talking about a porn parody or some shit or whatever. But it's 100 episodes. You did it. You achieved the podcasting dream of doing something consistently. And I hope that your empire grows and expands beyond your wildest dreams. And I just did this live on my show. You were standing there. You was looking at me. You're looking at me right now. You're looking at the audio waves bounce up and down on your computer right here. But once again, I wish you a happy 100 episodes. And I wish you 100 more if that's what you choose to do. And I'm out.
Damn, we got it.
Yeah. Working together.
That worked.
So, I mean, even then, let's go back 100 episodes ago to the Genesis, episode number 1. What was leading up to that moment? What made you decide to finally pull the trigger and put a microphone in your face and record some audio?
Honestly, listened to podcasts for a long time, and Kevin Smith. To tell the truth.
There it is. It's either one of the two. It's either motherfucking Kevin Smith or goddamn Joe Rogan. I just had a interview last night with a guy, and he said he didn't even know what the fuck podcasting was till he came on this show. And he was like, yeah, I didn't know what podcasting was. And I figured if I was going to be on one, I need to daggone listen to it. So he listened to a couple of my episodes. And then he's like, he found a couple of other pods that he was interested in. I was like, all right, so I'm your first. Who's the sloppy seconds? And the first thing came out of his mouth, well, the second thing was Joe Rogan. I was like, you motherfucker.
Joe Rogan had that effect on people, man. I don't know why, but he has the magic sauce, man. People love the Joe Rogan podcast. And
yeah,
I'm glad they do, though, honestly, because it helps make us more relevant. The more people that like podcasts, the more people who like podcasts like Joe Rogan and Kevin Smith and things like that, the more people trickle down to kind of find our podcast.
Yeah. And I'm not giving flack for that, but it's just like every time I ask that question, there's either one of the two and there's none in between, And they've been around for a long time. They've been at the forefront of the podcasting revolution or evolution or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And I'm not saying nothing bad. Once again, that was my first set of podcasts. Everything Smodcast that came out, I was listening to that shit. And damn, what other wrestling podcasts I was listening to at the time. I never listened to Joe Rogan though. Cause I pulled up one episode and I seen that bitch said 3 hours and some change. I was like, no, fuck this couch. I ain't having none of that.
Oh man. You know who got me like that too?
Who that?
Joe Button in them long ass podcasts.
Yeah, man. Cause like, it's like, I'm going to work, making my commute and shit. And, I throw on something that's like, 35, 45 minutes or maybe even an hour. I catch it on the return trip or whatever. But this motherfucker said 3 hours and 36 minutes and 28 seconds. I was like, no, and no.
Yeah. And I don't mind long podcasts all the time, but I can't listen to a long podcast. I mean, that's one of the reasons why when I do my podcast, I'll make it only the most it ever be, unless it's something special and really big, is 45 minutes to an hour long.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's only so much time a person will sit there when they hear somebody else's voice.
Yeah. This is true.
Like there's family members I don't want to talk to for 3 hours. so why the fuck would I want to hear somebody else talk to me for 3 hours, especially because a lot of podcasts think that just because they're talking for a long time, it's quality content. And a lot of times you can hear them burn out on the podcast. Like, this is not big interesting anymore.
Yeah, I mean, but I've even heard podcasts to where they just doing everyday things, just so happen to have the microphone recording or whatever. I mean, they talking and carrying on and everything. Then you hear a motherfucker get up, go in the back, start making them some nachos and shit and having drinks, and you hear the glasses clinking all in the background or whatever. I was like, what the fuck is this? I mean, I guess you want to provide the atmosphere like you really sitting in the room with them, listening to them talk or whatever, but come on, brother.
One of my favorite podcasts is called the What Up No Podcast. It's two African American brothers who do a podcast talking about everything from politics, religion, things, pop culture things, and stuff like that. And one of my favorite parts of the podcast is in the middle of the podcast, they'll just I gotta go take a pre break, and then they'll just come right back, like they'll edit the and come right back. Yeah. But the fact that they announce it, like, hey, we gotta go take a pre break.
Yeah.
Knowing that they don't have to announce that because they can edit it and make it sound like it's not happening. They announce when they come back always makes me just die laughing.
Yeah. And I guess that's like when you do it purposefully, that's kind of the thing about it or whatever. But I've known shows I never got that as well. It's just like, oh man, I gotta piss. Let's go on break, and they'll play some like music, and they'll edit some shit into it while they're going to do the thing, but they won't edit the shit out, which I think would take less time than it was to produce some shit in the middle time. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't never get that either. I was on a podcast the other day that did something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like they did it during the show. Like, you would actually like have that in there? Like, why?
Yeah. And
I guess that's their thing. That's their thing.
Yeah. I mean, I know one other person that does that, but they do it purposefully in a way to where, like, I go on the show and I have to pick 2 songs that I want them to play. So, we'll talk for about an hour or 30 minutes or whatever. We'll take a break. They'll play the song that I picked. Then we'll come back and finish the rest of the conversation. And then the other song that I pick will close out the show. So that's purposefully, but all the other that's shit, cool. I just don't get it.
I like that. That's cool. That's a pretty cool idea.
And then he always fucked me up because like I listen to a wide array of music from country, fucking rock, all kind of shit, right?
And you like me.
So I always pick the music by random select. I don't never, I have this song in my mind, I want you to play this. I just always do a random select. And it'd be some of the lamest ass shit sometimes, because I've been on the show a couple times. So one time it was Adina Howard, You Don't Have to Cry. And I was like, what the fuck?
I haven't heard that song in years.
Exactly.
It's been a long time.
And then another time it was like, I don't know, something stupid like Who Let the Dogs Out or whatever, which I don't even know why the fuck I had that in my playlist.
All right, I want to try something with you that may rock your world depending on if you knew this or not.
Okay.
The song "Easy Lover," who sings it?
Damn. It sounds familiar, but I can't picture it. You got a verse for me? You got a lyric? I can.
She's an easy lover, got a hold on me. You won't see it. It's like no other.
Damn, I know I heard that. I can't place it, man. Who that be?
Okay.
I'm about to look it up right now.
Dude, shoot, I don't want to play it. I have it on my phone.
It's okay. It's all right. We can play it.
Let's just play it for a second. Okay.
All right.
You probably know that intro. A lot of hip hop songs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you recognize the song now?
Yeah.
Okay. Who sings it?
Well, I'm looking at this and it's Philip Bailey and Phil Collins.
See, damn, you know it. Because that already told you.
Yeah.
But for years, I thought that was just a Phil Collins song.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I got that because what's that damn song? It was on, somebody posted the video for it on Facebook. And I forgot, goddamn, it's not coming to me right now. But it was like for years, I know a lot of people who heard this song and they thought it was a black dude singing it, but it was a white guy singing this shit. And he was like, he got some soul in his body, boy. Damn.
It's probably a Michael McDowell song.
Might have been.
Michael McDonald, man. People like, what is it? What a Fool Believes and all his type of songs. I keep forgetting. We're not in love anymore. People
that one. That was the one. Yeah. Keep not in love anymore.
Yeah, that's that joint, man. I listen to a wide variety of music.
Yeah, and it's cool because it's just like I don't sort it out. Like, I gotta buy the next Metallica album. I just listen to what I like.
Yeah. And my son's kind of the same way because he's listened to, when I come home sometimes, he's listening to stuff like Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm like, where did you learn Earth, Wind, and Fire from? He's like, listen to you listen to it. And I like it now. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then the Medea movies, they got a lot of those older classics in it too. And if anybody watching them shits, they listening to that soundtrack. So that's what a lot of my kids, I say a lot of my kids, like I got a mob of them motherfuckers. But that's where my kids, usually, oh, I like that song. That's from the Medea movie.
What? Yeah, you made it sound like you was like Future.
Yeah. No, I made it sound like I was my daddy. My daddy got 13 kids.
Woo! That's a lot of kids, man. I don't know how I get.
Yeah, there was a lot of moaning and whining and woo, make a head pop off. Yeah, but he old as fuck, so that was back in the day when it was cool to have that many kids.
Yeah, it wasn't no PlayStation, nothing around to keep your attention.
Oh, that was the PlayStation. You was pressing the nipple buttons and the square jump circle.
Man, hey, ain't nothing wrong with that at all.
No. But yeah, we don't kind of went all around, but like listening to podcasts made you, realize that maybe this is something that you can do. So, I mean, listening to podcasts and what else was some other contributing factors?
Well, it wasn't even that. It was Kevin Smith constantly saying,
do it
on his podcast, do it. Like that was his whole thing. Like, you can do this. This is not hard to do, man. Just go out there and do it. And whether you get 5 listeners or 100 listeners, express yourself in this way. I thought, like, damn, you make this sound so easy.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah.
And, and I was at a point in my life where I wanted to do something different. I want to do something that was more fulfilling to me because, you get into this kind of rut where you're doing stuff just to make money or you're just to survive. And you're kind of like, man, this sucks. Like most Americans, believe it or not, work at jobs that they don't like. They just tolerate them shits.
Yeah, I'm raising my hand right now. You can't see it, but
yeah. So anytime you can have a job or do something that you feel fulfilled by, it's a blessing and a joy to do. And I think that's what I get from podcasting, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do it.
Word. Yeah, and I've grown to that point. In the beginning it was just like something to do. And then it turned into what you was just talking about. It's just like it's a love-hate relationship, you know, because like we doing it right now, and I'm hype. I'm enjoying this shit. But when I'm not doing it, I'm just like, fuck, man, what time is this recording? We got to do it at 8:00. And then I was just like, man, do I really want to do this right now? And then he was like, hey man, I'm ready. He was like, hey man, I'm ready. I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this shit.
You know, my first year, when I started doing it, it was kind of like that. But I guess because of how my podcast is, it got to the point where it got exciting.
Yeah.
But then it also got to the point where you have to balance yourself, because I release every week, every Thursday at 9 a.m. And I always want to be consistent with it.
Yeah.
Because it's when you're for people who are up inspiring podcasters, one of the most important things in podcasting, probably more important than sound quality, because I've heard some podcasts that sound very shitty, but still get an audience. It's consistency. Yeah. If you're consistent, people will listen. And your audience will grow eventually if you're consistent. Yeah. Even if you have a crap-tacular podcast. There's people who have horrible podcasts that have listeners because they are consistent.
Yeah. And that's your niche too. I mean, I like this because it's horrible.
Yeah. I know I had a friend of mine who does podcasting. I don't know if I should say his name or not. But he was on you ever heard this podcast called Who Are These Podcasts?
I've heard of it, but I never listened to it.
Well, it's a podcast that ridicules other bad podcasts.
Yeah.
And his podcast was on there twice. Twice. And I talked to him like, hey man, I messed with like, hey man, you okay, man? And he's like, yeah, I'm great. They give me fucking free publicity.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, I'm having a blast, man. It made him, and he said because I think it's a pretty popular show.
Yeah.
But his show being on there and them bashing his show so bad that it made him do more podcasts. Like, nope, I'm gonna do more podcasts now. Now he does like a podcast a day.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah,
because that's basically what it is. Is like it's either gonna be I'm gonna listen to it to hear what the fuck they talking about. I gotta hear this shit for myself. It can't be this bad, you know. So now I gotta go over there and check it out for myself, you know. Which everybody should do that in essence. You just can't take the word of somebody else all the time. You gotta, judge it for yourself. You know, this is like with anything. Like Venom came out and people was like, "Oh, that shit garbage," and it made that movie not sell as well because it was taking the freaking opinion of someone else about the movie instead of going and seeing it themselves. And I was one of the ones that went to see the motherfucker, and I thought it was good for what it was. It was like a buddy cop movie, and I thought it was pretty
fun. It on Blu-ray.
I do as well.
I thought it was a good, terrible movie.
Yeah. And then my kids enjoyed it, so that's what made me like it. So
yeah, I thought it was entertaining. I think it gets a bad rap, but it's very entertaining. It's weird. It's weird to say the least.
And then we know Tom Holland is what that's Tom. No, Tom Holland is Spider-Man. What the fuck am I talking about?
Tom Hardy.
Hardy. He got an H in it and a T. but damn, he's not an American, so he got his freaking native accent, and him trying to do an American accent made him sound retarded. Made him sound mentally handicapped. I follow people who you sound like goddamn. What's that dude name? Sound like Little Nicky or some shit. I don't know. You just didn't sound right to me.
Yeah, it did sound awful. The movie is so weird and fascinating because it's like, I know it's bad. I know it's really bad, like terrible, but I can't turn away from it. It is somehow entertaining at the same time.
Yeah, but like to me, I'm a special effects guy. So, just the special effects alone had me, into it and whatnot. So
yeah, Venom looked good. Venom looked really good.
The head was kind of weird, but it's still, they pulled it off pretty well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, but man, what was it talking about?
We were talking about what got me in the podcast.
Yeah,
well, like
we're going to get there eventually.
Eventually we're going to get there. Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And, after hearing that, one of the things that came to my mind was, well, I need to do a podcast for somebody else because, nobody does podcasts by themselves per se. So I got my best friend up and I started doing a podcast for them called the Mic Drop Podcast.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I called it the Mic Drop Podcast at the time was because I'm a calm, cool, calculated dude. My best friend, he was in the military for several years.
Yeah.
He say some wild stuff that make literally will make like hold up. Did you just say that?
Yeah.
and so, and it was a blast recording it with him. Like he would have some wild hot takes on things. Like I think if I'm correct, the year we started recording that podcast was the year when Trump was running for office and everything like that.
Yeah.
And his takes on Trump was wild. Like, and for his credit, he was right about a lot of the stuff he was saying. Like he was, before anybody else was calling that Trump was going to win, he was saying on my podcast, Trump was going to win.
Oh yeah.
Trump was going to win. He was like vocal and loud and crazy about it. Like,
yeah.
People are not seeing this happening. Like as soon as he saw Trump money, like that guy's going to be president.
Yeah. I knew that. I knew that for a fact as well. Cause like, look at, George, W. Twice, they voted for him twice. And I was just like, America has a fascination with something weird and different. And Donald Trump is both of those things. So I was like, I knew off the bat he was going to take that election. And also for me at the same time, I mean, I'm a former military member too. At that time, when he announced his candidacy for president, I was like, all right, I'm getting out. Cause like this motherfucker, you see him on the day to day, he got a temper about him. And I was going to be the temper button, this motherfucker say some shit I don't like, send these motherfuckers over there and fuck shit up. And I'm like, I ain't want to be a part of none of that shit. So I had to exito, rapido.
Yeah, I don't blame you because if I remember correctly, the first year he was constantly threatening North Korea.
Yeah, I ain't want no part of that.
And that alone was like, ugh.
Yeah, did not want no parts of that.
That's a terrifying thing to hear anybody say. Mm-hmm. And even now, it's like the whole thing with Iran and stuff like that. You're like, oh man, come on. And it's so bad, it's become almost normal when people don't pay attention to it.
Exactly. It's just like you ignoring them or you just like, what the fuck? But to get more into the story, so I don't derail your podcast anymore. Al was going through things, man. He couldn't, like, he was, I think he was enjoying doing the podcast, but his personal life was falling and crumbling around him. He was having problems with his girl. His girl was sick. Yeah.
At one point she was dying, and then they was going through it and everything, and his dad was sick. And it got to the point where it was affecting the podcast. And I enjoyed doing the podcast with him, especially like, and this is the crazy thing about it. Our first episode, we did an episode talking about religion and God and stuff like that because his father's a pastor and stuff.
Yeah.
Episode blew up. Like, I think it was like 10,000 listeners, 10,000 listeners, something like that. And the first thing came to my mind, I'm like, yo, this is going to work. This is easy. That second episode, 10 listeners.
Yeah.
So we was having this kind of ebb and flow where we have these really great episodes that get a lot of listens, like maybe like 200-300 listens. Then we have an episode to get like 5-6 listens. And we was trying to find that balance, but then it got to the point where he was not able to do it. And then when he was doing it, his heart wasn't into it. And we did like some stinker episodes, and I mean, like, so terrible. Like, after we finished, we're like, I'm not releasing this. Because he wasn't in it there. We got to the point where I had to have a conversation. I'm like, yo, man, you're not going to be able to do this. Mentally, you're not there to do this podcast. And I'd rather have my friend get his life together than worry about doing a podcast.
Yeah.
So that left me with no person to podcast with, but still that desire and that hunger to record. Because I was enjoying podcasts, and I was enjoying talking and having a conversation with people about recording podcasts, and I was enjoying the whole experience behind it. So that's why I came with the idea of the Delvin Cox Experience, and I was like, let me just interview people and get their perspective on life. And a lot of my friends do video game podcasts.
Yeah. And
I love video games. I'm a big time gamer and stuff like that. But I didn't want to do video game podcasts because all my friends do that.
Yeah.
So I'll be kind of like just one of the many. So I decided to just do an interview podcast where I just interview different podcasters and people and whoever I can get on a podcast just to get their perspective on life and things that's going on. Probably a little bit like it's what you do almost.
Yeah, yeah.
So the first episode I actually recorded, this is literally becoming like a mini autobiography of the podcast.
Yeah. That's what it's here for.
Yeah, definitely. Well, since you're gonna get all the information about what I'm doing for episode 100, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, so exactly.
So that's gonna be a good bow on the whole subject. But I recorded my first episode 2 years ago around E3, and it was talking about. I was going to do a whole episode talking about E3 and things like that. So I was like, man, I got to find a guest for this. So I reached out to a guy who I was really familiar with from a podcast called PSBG. That was a video game podcast. The guy named was Donnie. I was like, hey, man, I'm trying to start this podcast thing up, man. And I need some help. And I want to do an E3 special. And his podcast had a decent size. It wasn't big as it is now. It's a lot bigger now. But he was like, yeah, man, I'll do it. I'm glad to do a podcast. Would y'all bring me? I'll go on with you and one of my friends. So we did the podcast, talk about E3 and things like that. And it went off really good.
Yeah.
And it kind of was just like building from there, just doing episode after episode, reaching out to people on Twitter. Anybody who I could get on a podcast, I was reaching for. Small podcasters who maybe a little bit bigger. And I was seeing the numbers were decent. They were better than the Mic Drop podcast in terms of they were more consistent. But they still was like, 20, 30. I'm like, oh, this is good. This is still good. It's, what people don't realize what I'm explaining right now is the grind of podcasting.
Yeah.
A lot of people think when they hear podcasting that you're going to come in the podcasting game, you're going to start getting 30,000 listeners and things like that. In actuality, podcast is a lot like YouTube.
Yeah.
A lot of cases, you're sitting there trying to build your catalog and stuff. You may get 5 listeners, and you have to really build your audience up to get to that level where you want it to be at. And that's what I was doing. I kept constantly recording. And this is the funny thing about it is the hurricane came down here.
Oh, snap.
So I recorded one of my episodes during the hurricane.
I was about to say that you out there. Yeah, this is the Delvin Cox Experience. Yeah,
which was a wild experience, and I couldn't put it out until after the hurricane was over and stuff. We was out of power for 2 weeks and stuff, and it was crazy. And after I got my power back and stuff, and my friend mentioned me, his name is Chalfie. He was like, hey, man, why don't you talk about the hurricane? He said, let me interview you about what happened in the hurricane. I said, yeah, sure. Why not? So he interviewed me on my podcast about the hurricane. And it kind of blew up. Like, it got at the time, 400 listeners that first day. And it was consistently getting listened to every day. And then the episode after that, got a whole bunch of listens. And I started saying, okay, people are starting to like hearing me just talk about not only myself, but things that are going on. So I just constantly was interviewing different people. I interviewed, I interviewed a girl by the name of Haley. And she's transgender.
Okay.
And I would talk about her life and things like that and everything that she goes through as a transgender person. And she was talking about her father.
Yeah.
And how her father wasn't approving of it, and how her father and her don't have any type of relationship with us whatsoever. And it was so touching. A lot of people reached out to me about that episode in particular. Because, it's just hearing someone give the experience of a trans person. It's one thing when you hear the stories from the outside looking in, like, oh, you don't have to make that choice and things like that. But it's another thing when you're hearing it from the horse's mouth, per se, and hearing her perspective on it, how she feels about it, how, like, her family shunned her, but she feels like this is who she is. And, like, yeah.
And see,
it's eye-opening.
Yeah, and that's what I want here. And, I haven't, had something like that on this show. I had people that are gay been on the show, and I didn't find out till after the fact, which, I mean, it wasn't a big deal, but I was just like, That would have been something to know. I mean, that could have been some content for the podcast, but it is what it is. People are people. I don't care. But, I've even reached out to like, one podcast in particular. I ain't gonna say the name, but, it is two gay guys and they do a podcast, which you see now I'm just narrowing it down to two gay guys doing a podcast, in which you can find millions of them bitches floating around anywhere.
Definitely.
But, I wanted something like that on the podcast because that's something that was never here before. Somebody to speak about that type of experience and whatnot. Because I'm not that type of person, but there's those type of people out there that may listen, and I want to give them something to for them.
Yeah, and I think that's very important because of episodes like that. Chalfie, the guy I told you about earlier, who's on Twitter for those who want to follow him, is that Chalfie. He was like, man, he goes, I'm gonna give you a tagline for your podcast, and it's like you're on a one-man mission to unite our culture through diversity, because you seek out people from all sorts of walks and backgrounds and creeds and races, and have these long conversations with them and talk to them about their life and find out things that you would normally not know about people in general, like whether it's Middle America, whether it's people from the South, whether it's people from the North. Just in general, and I think that's one of the things, the joys I get out of podcasting in terms of like just finding out how different people are and how similar they are at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just like, I just, you seem like you have a little more of a, streamlining as far as guests go and whatnot. I literally just grab a motherfucker and be like, hey, come over here and do the show, and they'd be like, okay. There's really no method to it.
It's kind of like that with me too. But the thing about it is, I'm gonna give you a trick that might help you out.
All right.
I have this thing on my podcast called the 5 for 5.
Okay.
Well, I ask 5 questions and I expect 5 answers to get the ball rolling. Before we start the podcast off, that's the first thing I do with everybody. And the reason why I do that is it's kind of to break the ice. So I asked them 5 random questions, and they're always like interesting questions, like what's the dumbest thing you've done as a kid, or what's the best album you listened to this past year. And when you do that, it opens people up to be more open about things that they go through and things like that. You ask them about their life and stuff, because you have these interesting sometimes in the 5 for 5, people give out the most interesting things about them.
Yeah. So
once you start kind of breaking the ice with those questions, people are much more open to talk about almost anything, because it doesn't become an interview, it becomes more of a conversation.
Yeah. And
when you're talking to your friends, you don't really bite your tongue.
Yeah.
You kind of say what you feel and sometimes you say it with your chest, and it's interesting and cool that the 5 for 5 kind of opens people up more to me and kind of endears them more to me, and people love the 5 for 5 oftentimes. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you one of the questions right now for the 5 for 5. Let's see how you can handle it.
All right, cool.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is a question that people kind of are terrified of, because they think it's the wrong answer, even though it's not a wrong answer to it, but it's a good one. If a zombie apocalypse happens,
oh Lord,
you can take 5 things with you when you're leaving. Your family obviously don't count. You have to carry your family and things like that.
Yeah.
Your family and your pets you don't have to carry, but 5 things to go out in the world and survive with. What are you taking?
Damn. That's a damn good question.
You got to think about it a little bit, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like
5 of them. 5 things.
5 things.
Shit.
It don't necessarily have to be in your house right now.
Yeah.
Let's just say you can anything you want to take, like off the top of your head. What you want to think of?
All right, I need my microphone. I need a recording device.
Are those 2 of the things? Hey, that works.
I know, I'm just bullshit. Nah.
Like, hey, good.
I don't think
somebody got to document the zombie apocalypse when it happens.
This is true. So, I mean, it would be in the vein of something that I can use over and over. Because I mean, you take something that's fucking disposable. I mean, that's the end of it. You down to 4 things. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, man, I have no fucking clue, man. Because damn, if I did take my mini recorder, I would need batteries, and you know how hard that's gonna be to find some shit in the apocalypse.
Yeah, that's true.
Damn.
So one, you're gonna need a weapon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, anything can be a weapon, though.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you're still gonna need something that you have to worry about breaking or running out of ammunition or things like that.
Exactly. So I'm gonna go the tried and true machete.
Okay, that's a good weapon.
Get the long joint. Maybe some kind of protective outerwear. Some type of armor or armor-esque type apparel. So
that's good. That's two. I like that answer. Let me help you along the way. You might want to take something to make water or food with.
Yes. And I need something to carry all said things.
Yes.
Oh shit. What about a solar power car? We got any of them laying around anywhere?
A solar power car?
Do we have that shit yet? I know we got electric cars.
We do have solar power cars. They don't go fast though.
Yeah, I'm fucking ransacking the Google headquarters and get a solar power car.
Okay, I'll allow that to be a good answer. I don't know if it's at Google headquarters, but I think solar power cars are definitely a thing.
Yeah, so that'll carry 3 of the things, so I don't need the bag no more. So I opened up a spot. This is Minecraft. I'm fucking merging things and crafting shit together. So, all right. So, I mean, that's even shelter right there. So, boom. Look, there it is. So, all right. I got armor. I got a weapon, machete. I got my solar power car. That's 3 things. I probably get but then you run out of filters and shit. Cause I about to say I probably carry around one of them Brita joints, the little water filter joints.
That'd be a good idea if you could figure out a way to keep the filter clean.
Yeah. So,
maybe a pot.
Yeah.
Cause you can use the pot to boil water.
Yeah. Now we sound like PUBG and shit, running around with frying pans, whacking motherfuckers and shit. That can double as a weapon.
Oh man.
Yeah. So all right. Yeah. I got the pot, the weapon, the solar power car, the armor.
So one more, right?
Condoms, because I ain't trying to get the old lady pregnant during the apocalypse. Because I mean, I'm gonna be tired. Food might be scarce and shit. The pull-out game might not be as good as it was if I was strong and healthy and shit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Rick pull-out game was over with when he got on the show.
Hell yeah, that was shocking as fuck too. It's just like they flash forward and shit, and it's like, oh, it's a little one.
Yeah. I like that though. I like Walking Dead is one of my favorite TV shows, and I like that they made that change.
Yeah, and then about the whole they trying to make movies and shit and all that stuff now. Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, because Rick isn't dead. Spoilers for anybody, but he's supposed to be doing a series of movies, within the Walking Dead universe, from what I understand. Yeah,
and I think from what I've heard, I think Michonne's supposed to be going there too.
Huh.
I think that's what they said. I think Michonne's supposed to be leaving to go to the movies as well.
That'd be interesting. Cause damn old girl Maggie, she gone to do her own little TV show that's already canceled.
Oh my God. I didn't know it was canceled.
Yeah, already. It's not getting renewed. So, I mean, that's basically the same shit.
Yeah, that's canceled.
Well, that's canceled. The freaking all the Marvel shit with Netflix, that's not renewed. That's not canceled. That's strategically pulled from Netflix because it's going somewhere else.
Most likely, from what I've heard, might be Hulu.
Yeah, because Disney and the Fox purchase, they got majority share of Hulu. So from what I hear, Disney Plus $7 at a standstill by itself. But I think there were talks of a bundle with Disney Plus and Hulu. So that'd be pretty cool because the way I understand that they might do it is to where all the family fun shit over here on the Disney Plus side, then you get all the other crazy wild shit over here on the Hulu side.
Well, Hulu already started to do stuff like that. Like they got Cloak and Dagger on Hulu.
Yeah.
And they got the Runaways on Hulu, which funny thing about that is, you ever heard of Rodney Barnes?
Refresh.
He writes for the Runaways.
Okay.
And he also wrote the Boondocks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The Boondocks. That's my shit, boy.
Yeah. He was on my podcast.
Oh, snap. I'm going to have to go back and find that one.
Yeah, that was a great episode. Great dude, man. I talked to him quite often now. It was just surprising, but
call him up back to me. You're going to make another season or a movie.
Oh, there's not going to be any more Boondock seasons. I can tell you that right now. Unless Hail Mary is thrown, I don't think there's going to be any more Boondock series in this climate.
So, I get what you're saying now.
I asked him. That's the first question I asked him. Like, can we get more Boondocks and can you write some more of this stuff? Like, I don't think it's coming.
Because it was originally a comic book, right?
Comic strip, yeah.
Yeah, so.
And it's back. It just came back being a comic strip this year.
Yeah. Yeah, because I went back and I binged all the seasons that they got on Netflix or whatever. And you are completely right, man. It's just like the way shit is now, I don't think that would be good for prime time or even, I mean, Adult Swim, maybe they can fly under the radar, but just to have it out in the open like that again, I don't think they could pull it off.
Yeah, because the Boondocks doesn't have the charm that Family Guy has.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of
black people.
I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Boondocks, nothing black kids.
Exactly.
You can't get that type of slack with that type of show as you can with Family Guy.
Yeah, the modern baby kids.
Yes.
But damn, another show that was kind of like that I just recently went back and binged as well, that I would always see famously through memes, but not actually viewing the show, was the Eric Andre show that was on Adult Swim with Hannibal Buress and Eric Andre or whatever. So I went back and watched all that shit, and I was like, there ain't no fucking way. I had to put the F word in there. Ain't no fucking way they could do that show again right now in 2019.
Yeah, that's not happening. I remember watching that show a little bit late at night and thinking, damn, am I high? What the hell is going on? Because, Adult Swim has these weird shows that come on really late at night, and it's like, what the hell am I watching?
Yeah.
And it always throws me off.
Yeah, and that show was just like made like that on purpose. I could just remember shit to where, like, I think Hannibal, he the co-host, so he stood up, he ripped his clothes off and had the same clothes up under it, and he just sat back down like he just didn't do that shit. And then it had some of the Tom Green aspects to it or whatever, where he would go out on the street with a microphone or dress as different characters and fuck with people or whatever. And some of the stuff that he was getting away with, like I remember one time he was just like jabbing his finger inside this lady's mouth and she was just letting him do it or whatever. And I was just like, ain't no way in hell.
Not in this generation you doing that.
Hell.
That is not flying.
Well, I believe certain demographics might let that fly because, hey, there's a camera there and we're filming a show. Hey, look, I'm getting exposure. Get my followers up.
I always wondered about that. Like, how far will a person go to get those followers up? Because it's not, I remember when I was growing up, it was about money.
Yeah.
Like we'll do this for X amount of dollars or this and that. Now it's kind of like, if I can get 20 more followers, I'm almost willing to do anything.
Well, that's the exchange nowadays, man. Followers equals to cash, because the more people you got viewing your shit, the more you make off of ad revenue or whatever.
Yeah, that is very true.
So that's the exchange. Because even on the lower level with Instagram or whatever, you get all these additional features if you reach 10,000 followers. So people had to swipe up features, and they I think they were their Insta story, and they could put links in there, and their freaking IGTV is longer than everybody else's, because I think the standard subscriber or user has a 10-minute window to record stuff, but if you pass that 10K threshold, you get an hour or 30 minutes or some shit like that.
So I need to work on my Instagram now.
or you can just buy some motherfuckers, buy some followers.
Yeah, that's also a thing. I forgot that was a thing too.
Yeah, there was a whole thing with the Po' Boy podcast. There was a part of this big ass tournament or whatever. A bunch of different podcasts was in this big tournament, and they were doing like the March Madness brackets or whatever, and they was putting the votes out there for people to vote for whatever show, and it was elimination. So Po Boys podcast, my homeboy Jody B, that motherfucker Jody B,
Jody.
he was kicking ass in the early rounds and whatnot. Then it got down to like the quarterfinals, semifinals or whatever, and then just like he was getting stomped, and it was just like weird as fuck that like it was just like lopsided, and it wasn't like this for any other brackets outside of his. So he's seen something was a miss, something was a foul, because the numbers would jump by a specific amount.
Oh shit.
So he looked into it or whatever, and basically the other people, whatever, was buying votes. There's a website, I forget what it was, where you can pay X amount of dollars and you can get votes for your polls and everything and stuff that you put out there. You paying for interaction pretty much. So he's well, fuck it, they're gonna do it. I'm gonna do it too. And they made a whole big hullabaloo out of this thing. It was just like 100,000. Well, not, I don't think it got that high, but it was like 10,000 votes for this one, 10,000 votes for that one. And it was just battling back and forth, spending actual money on this shit, all over some fictitious bragging rights or whatever. This is like a made up thing that the prize was you won. You didn't get shit from it. It was good for exposure because, oh, look, this podcast beat this podcast. Maybe I can go listen to this one, see what this is about, yada, 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 stuff like that. So that was cool. But you did not win nothing physical. You just won because you won.
Oh, but that's crazy. I was always thinking about doing this, and I might do it one day. Make myself a podcast championship belt.
Oh, there's people that have done it. There's a podcast out there called the Cretans Guild and whatnot. Look them up on freaking Twitter. And they got a custom made podcast belt. Not like an overall podcast belt, but it's themed to their show. And that bitch looked fire as hell.
Do they defend it?
Yes, they do. They do defend it. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull this up right now because we talking.
I'm interested in that now.
I forget what the circumstances are of the title defenses, but they do actually defend the belt.
So that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm a DM them yo. Well, yeah, I'm DM them. I mean, you their shit.
Yeah, definitely. I'm about to say DM them.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm a DM them your shit, but hey, it is what it is.
Man, I feel you on that.
I have an observation. Maybe you can verify my inkling. Maybe you can tell me if I'm full of shit or what. Whatever. I'm looking at your logo, the Delvin Cox Experience podcast. Is that the font from Devin the Dude from his album covers and the shit?
I never thought about that. It might be. I never thought about that till you just said that.
You're welcome.
I never realized that.
Yeah, because I remember becoming a Devin the Dude fan, and every album that you have will have that same freaking font.
Now I gotta look it up.
Yeah,
I had that logo made a while back. See, now you got me interested. I'm like, did this motherfucker? Because I paid somebody a while back to make that logo.
Oh, they got you.
Like, did they just take down the Dude's logo?
Oh,
it's very close.
Yeah, very similar.
Very similar.
And I thought it was just like a clever play on your thing, because like Delvin, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's very close up. We ain't talking about this shit though. Yeah, someone Delvin the Dude ever come look at me.
Yes, quickly deter the topic.
That didn't happen.
I said, yeah, this is where we go take a pee break.
Oh man, I did not realize that now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There you go. You're famous.
Nah, I ain't famous. I don't want to come to sue my ass.
I'm flipping around. I'm like, nah, he had this shit first. Devin the Dude biting his shit. But
oh man, that's a great reference. Devin the Dude, man, I haven't heard his music in a minute.
Yeah, he's still apparently running around touring and everything. I mean, that's where most independent people make their money, because record labels give you the penis and whatnot, and
Yeah.
leave you holding the bag.
That's the dope and sucky thing about rapping,
Yeah.
is the fact that you have these artists that people grew up loving, and they still be making music, but nobody would never know because they just look up for the next hot act. They don't care that KRS-One is still putting out albums and things like that. And I wish hip hop was more open to listening to legends and songs and things like that, having like a KRS-One put out an album and everybody go to the store and run to get it. Like rock and roll. Rolling Stones put out a new album, people are going to go get a Rolling Stones album. Rolling Stones going on tour, people are going to see the Rolling Stones. With the exception of a few acts, if a legendary hip hop artist is coming out with a new album, people ain't really checking for that.
Hell yeah, because like Nas, like years back, Nas and Damian Marley came out with a goddamn like a LP or some shit like that, and I did not know that bitch came out.
Yeah,
it's just like,
I'm a big Nas fan. I didn't know that one came out.
Yeah, and it's just like over happenstance every now and then. I just happen to go through iTunes every now and then just to see what come out every week. New releases come out on Tuesday, and I just pop in there every now and then to see what's going on. They got a motherfucking Styles P album that just came out.
I just found out about that one.
Exactly. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, man, it's fascinating how that works because you miss out on a lot of great albums because they don't get promoted or marketed whatsoever.
And then it's doing it their way, doing it the independent grind. Because if they do get it promoted big wise, that's more money they're taking out of their pocket to do that, to maybe get some new listeners in this climate. Because the way music is now, there ain't too many people spitting that lyrical, that lyrical side of the hip hop. It's just like hippity hoppity hoop hoop poop poop pow pow skirt 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 skirt.
That's what Kanye West doing right now.
Oh yeah. Do you think it's all a facade, or he just fucking done lost his goddamn shit?
I think that he's lost his shit. That I think he has issues, and I think that he needs help, and I think everything he's doing is just to cry for help, and I think it all happened after he lost his mother.
Yeah. That's the easy, like, if you can point to a thing, that's where it started.
Yes.
Because he even said it himself, like in earlier songs or whatnot, that like his mama was the one that damn wrangled him in and kept him online. Yeah,
it's kind of. Kanye is one of those guys who seems like he needs somebody to keep him grounded. And for all the flack that Kim Kardashian gets for being Kim Kardashian, I think she does that a little bit to him.
A little bit.
I think she keeps him a little grounded. I think, because you can see moments where he starts bugging out, then all of a sudden he mellows out a lot.
Yeah.
And then he just flips out again.
She's like, bring your ass home. Okay.
And it's, I think that's just a testament to what she does. I know people don't like Kim Kardashian and whatnot.
But she made a hustle off of penis sucking. I don't know.
Yeah. And all that, like, she's basically, it's crazy to say this right now. What she's doing now
is way, you forget that she even started from there.
Yeah. And her getting all these felons out of prison and stuff like that is an amazing thing to do.
Yeah, so that goes to show you, ladies, you suck one dick one good time, and you can make a future for yourself. You gotta make sure it's the right dick, though.
Yeah. Well, she did a lot with the dick she sucked, because she sucked Ray J dick, and she far surpassed his fame.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not even debatable.
Yeah. Now, like, and that's crazy, right? Just like, she only had to do that once. Didn't have to do it ever again, unless you wanted to. But, really, who got the raw end of that deal? Ray J, right?
Anything Ray J did, yeah.
Because, he was on, I guess what, that Love and Hip Hop bullshit or whatever the fuck it is. I don't watch that crap, but.
Yeah. Not saying he's doing bad, but
he could be doing a hell of a lot better. Yeah,
Kim Kardashian is a multi-billionaire at this point. running a dynasty.
Yeah.
Like her family's family is set for life. I don't know many people who can say that.
Yeah, not too many. But like with Kanye though, I believe he is somewhat coherent. It's just like he does the things he does because he is Kanye. You know, I kind of feel like it's like that. He's like, well, shit, man. He feeling this up. He got the ego. You know, he made a song about it. And he's just like, I'm Kanye West, and I know anything I can do will sell. Case in point. That shit that we was just talking about earlier. Scoopity poop. Poop, poop, poopity poop. He put that shit out. Like, for real. And I have no doubt in my mind that made money. Because it was Kanye West. Let me do some shit like that. Nah, ain't happening. Nah, I ain't making no revenue off of that shit whatsoever. Another point. His fucking clothing line. The clothes that he be fucking making or whatever. He had, I guess some shit, a pop-up shop or some shit to where he just had clothes that said like Jesus or some shit on it or whatever the fuck. Let me see if I can pull this up and give you some accurate gouge.
Definitely.
But yeah, he basic ass shit that I can probably make with a Epson printer and goddamn an ironing board and some transfer paper. And he's selling these shits for hundreds of dollars, and people is lining up around the fucking block and building to buy this shit.
Yeah.
Because it's Kanye West.
That's a whole nother conversation about, we need to have that conversation too, eventually, but about a person's brand and how far they can go with that brand, how far they can push it in terms of how a person's name will get you far if you have the right name.
Yeah. Church clothes.
Kanye West is the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Where he can put any bullshit out and people will buy it because it's Kanye West.
Yep. And it's church clothes. That's his shit. And all it is a freaking arching font that says Holy Spirit on a dingy gray ass sweater. Another circular font that's going around in a circle that says Sunday service at the mountain. Another one say trust God, and the T is a cross. You got black and white socks that say church socks. And it says Jesus. You got Jesus walks socks. I get that. That's clever play on words.
Yeah.
You got some pants that say Sunday service. And yeah, I mean, the sweater, $225. The socks, $50. The plain ass t-shirt, $70. And it's just ridiculous, man.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, for him, yeah.
It's brilliant.
Because he know people gonna buy it.
Yeah, he's doing what companies who are not black been doing for forever now.
Yeah.
Like look at Gucci. Gucci just put Gucci name on something and charge $10,000 for it. People go out there and buy it because of the name Gucci. Coach do the same thing. You can find the same thing, the exact same product in like a Ross that doesn't say Coach for like $20.
Yeah.
But because the name Coach is on it, it's now $200 to $300.
Yeah, and that's just the world we live in. It's clout and status.
Yeah.
But that's fucking ridiculous, man. And then, you know, let's see. I'm scrolling through the pictures. I'm trying to see if I can find people that are wearing this apparel. And they don't look like you or me, man.
I'm quite sure they don't.
You know, no. I mean, this guy kind of look Hispanic, but he looked like he's well off. So, I mean, I don't know. So it's the entitled and the, you know, the other side of the culture is buying into this stuff. And I think he's taking advantage of that because, I mean, he not only does he have his name, the value that's behind Kanye West, but he's with Kim Kardashian.
Yeah. And that brings the whole other side. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, we only on one genre of Kanye, and that's like we waiting for him to drop some decent music. I mean, then there's the other side of the spectrum to where they're like, I want all these things. The Yeezys that look like goddamn socks with heels on them. And I don't fucking know.
I wish that more people would think, and this is not a knock whatsoever, like Stephon Marbury and Shaq did it when they got to the point where they were going to sell their shoes.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're going to make shoes that are affordable.
Affordable, yes.
Which I think is dope.
And then, like, they had, you speaking about Shaq and everything, there was a meme about, somebody did about Shaq shoes and whatnot. But, like, those shoes, I think, have grossed, like, over $100 and something million, though, being sold in, like, the dollar store and Walmart and all these other different, Ross and all these other places, I mean, people forget how many people in the world there are, and there's a lot of motherfuckers that's not afraid to buy, shoes because they're affordable, or how they look. I need something on my motherfucking feet and these are $10. So I'm buying these $10 motherfuckers right here.
Yeah. Then add to the fact there's a lot of kids who can't afford the $70 and $80 shoes.
Exactly.
And they don't want to just wear, and we used to call them when I was going to Bobos. So let me just get a pair of Shaqs.
Yeah.
So people may clown, but they won't clown me as bad if I'm wearing Shaqs or some Stephon Marburys as they would if I'm wearing something else.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't like the first couple of iterations of Shaq shoes were made by Reebok, weren't they?
Yes. And they were moderately expensive. They were probably cheap for a big athlete shoe, because I had a pair of them. They were like $100.
Yeah, that's like they hypnotized the black and white joints.
Yes, and they changed the name of them, correct? Because they re-released them.
Yeah, they did that not too long ago, but I don't know what they call them now.
Yeah, I forgot what they called them. But they were moderately priced. They wasn't like, they had if I'm correct. See, I'm thinking of the time for the Jordans were like $250, something like that.
Yeah.
So those were like your high budget sneakers. Then you had your Shaq for $100 and your Reggie Miller for $100 and things like that. But man.
And then I always been like how we talked about music, we like what we like. I was the same way with shoes. I mean, I didn't I didn't ask my parents to buy me shoes because, they were Jordans or whatever. I have only owned one pair of Jordans in my whole life. And that was just to show motherfuckers that I can get a pair of Jordans if I wanted them, And then like about 2 weeks later, I was cutting grass in them bitches. That's how much I cared about them. But it was just like I seen a pair of shoes and I liked them. So that was the ones I wanted. It wasn't because it was, Nike or whatever the fuck it was. It's just because, I mean, even my mom will tell you that to this day. She's like, well, I mean, you picked some affordable shoes and I appreciate you for that.
I'm glad you brought that up because you reminded me of a story with me and my pops. My pops, I didn't live with my father and anything like that. So when it was time for school shop when I was younger, he would pick me and my sister up and take us school shopping. And every time we go to like the Foot Locker, I'd be like, yeah, Dad, let me give me a pair of Jordans. And he'll pull me to the side and say, I'll tell you what, you can either get one pair of those Jordans or 4 pairs of anything else that are relatively cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing the math and saying, well, I get one pair of Jordans, well, I can get 2 pair of Nikes and 2 pair of Reeboks for the same price.
Yeah.
And that's what and he did that to me every year.
Mm-hmm.
Till it got to the point where like, no man, I'd rather have.
I already know.
I'd rather have a bunch of shoes and be the kid who has a bunch of shoes at school as opposed to that one kid who has these nice one pair of Jordans
that go with every outfit.
Yeah.
Every outfit, the same pair of shoes.
Yeah, and I think that for that, I thank him for that because it taught me, when you don't have to overvalue that stuff because Jordans are essentially just regular shoes with just his logo on it.
Yeah,
and it's better to when it comes to things like that, because let's be honest, unless you're a shoe collector or someone who fancies shoes,
Yeah.
you're not going to get much enjoyment out of it besides wearing them.
Mm.
So why not just spend it? And this is what he always tell me. Why not spend that money on something that you truly will get enjoyment out of? Like you tell me, like you like video games.
Yeah.
So why don't you spend your money on that or comic books and stuff like that, as opposed to buying some shoes that people are going to think is cool. But then after a while, that's going to wear off, and you're just going to have these shoes and nothing else to show for it.
Yeah. Man, it's just like even with like when I was in school, like with shoes and fat clothes and everything like that, it's like it was always the same thing. You know, I wore what I liked. You know, and sometimes my parents would just like give me stuff or whatever, but you know, it was just I looked around my school and I looked at my classmates. I mean, many people that looked like me and everything, and it was just like they all wore the same shit. You know, everybody wore polos, had the freaking crease down jeans and everything and whatnot. And, you know, some Jordans or whatever cool shoes they had at the time. I didn't want to be that. You know, there was a time to where I tried to fit in, where I was actively starching my pants real hard and shit and putting the creases in them. And I'll tell you a story about that. The first time I tried to do that shit, because, I mean, that's a truly Southern thing. To where you starch them bitches so hard and crease them so sharp that them bitches stand up on their own. The very first time I tried to do this shit, you know, not knowing nothing about nothing, just seeing people, you know, they press and starch their jeans. I only starched the front part of my pants. So my shit was razor sharp in the front with the creases, but it was baggy and loose as fuck in the back of the pants. So it's like I had fucking, you know, creased up shin guards on and shit in the front. Yeah, fucking chop up goddamn block off a piece of wood and whatnot with my pants leg, but I'm fucking baggy hammer pants in the back.
You know, that's the price we pay sometimes for popularity, man, in terms of how, like, yeah, this is cool, man. This is cool. We go out there and try something, and sometimes just gotta be yourself.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that's what middle school was for me. It was just like trying to fit in and be a part of the culture, you know, wearing the Dickies and all this other shit or whatever. And then, you know, when I got to high school, man, I was just like, man, I just went through 2.5, 3 years of this shit in middle school, seeing the same shit. And I'm with the same peer group. Cause I mean, we all, you know, go to the different same schools and same grades together. I was like, I'm tired of being like y'all motherfuckers. So when everybody was going shopping Foot Locker and Polo and all this other, and Hilfiger when that was a thing, I was fucking going to Gadzooks and motherfucking Spencer Gifts and all kind of crazy shit like that, wearing shiny dragon shirts and goddamn freaking, you know, the shirts now that they sell more frequently at Walmart. You know, you go over there for $7, you get a Deadpool shirt and some shit like that. So
I'm glad you mentioned that. Because when I got 10th, 11th grade, I was wearing similar shirts, but they used to have these, not polo shirts, but these like dress shirts. Mm-hmm. They had like Dragon Ball characters on them.
Okay, yeah.
I used to always wear those Hawaiian type Dragon Ball Z shirts with the fighters in the background, and it looked weird back then, but everybody wears them now.
Yeah, everybody doing that shit now. So like, I used to go fucking buy freaking button up Hawaiian shirts and shit with Hawaiian print and all kind of crazy junk on there because nobody was trying to wear that shit, you know? And I was just like, that's me. That's my style now.
Yeah.
Cause I didn't want to be like the rest of y'all.
Hey, nothing's wrong with that whatsoever. I started realizing that I don't need to be like the rest of them when I got like 11th grade. And I started doing my own thing. Then I started finding out people started doing what I was doing. So,
exactly, man. And I started wearing those shiny ass dragon button up polo shits that you get from Gadzooks and whatnot. And I would wear the baggier freaking sweatpants and shit. And they'll talk hot trash on me. And it's like, boy, man, you look stupid, man. You dressing like a white boy. Yada, 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 and this and that. And I shit you not. About 2-3 weeks later, motherfucker walking through there with that same exact damn shiny ass shirt that I was wearing 3-4 weeks ago. I was like, Oh, you motherfucker. Then he had the nerve to get an ill-fitting motherfucking shirt. So his shit couldn't even button up all the way because he's a chubby ass motherfucker. The audacity of him.
The nerve.
And then let me tell you how my homeboy set me up though. Cause I mean, I had a cool little clique in high school, whatever. And we was kind of on the same wavelength, whatever. I mean, we were nerds. We wanted to play video games and just, do shit that nobody else was doing. So I brought him the fucking shiny shirt, dragon, button-up polo idea. I was like, hey, man, we all need to go to Gadzooks and fucking get these shirts and we can just rock them. We be on our own little crew and shit, right? And it's like, yeah, man. And we all went together. We all bought shirts and shit. And we was like, yeah, man, we gonna wear these shits tomorrow. How come I'm the only motherfucker on there with the shirt on? I'm the only one. And I so I got hella shit from everybody. Like, you dress like a white boy, all this other bullshit. And I was like, thanks a lot, guys. We'll play Nintendo later. All right. Yeah, but I owned it after that. That was my shit. So I was just like, fuck it. I just did it all the time.
Yeah, man. It's important to own that. So once you own it, they can't take it away from you. And they can't hate on you for it.
Mm-hmm. This is like, that's just Rob.
Yeah.
Just doing his thing. But like, I mean, it's the same way with the podcasting thing, man. It's just like, you was talking about how you love and play video games, but you didn't want to do a freaking video game podcast because of all the ones that you listen to and, everybody else is doing the shit. Similar thing for me as well. I mean, even though I'm doing one now, but in the beginning, I wanted to do a wrestling podcast, just talk about wrestling because I love the wrestling and all this other bullshit. But I was just like, nah, I don't want to be talking about this one thing all the goddamn time. And then I was listening to Buku Wrestling Podcast. So I was like, there's plenty of other people that can do that shit. So damn, just owning it and making your own. Like now I do the wrestling podcast and I only look at it as to where I'm doing it differently than, everybody else would do it. And, everybody else is covering current events and news and whatnot. And, I gave you the rundown earlier. I'm just like, we talk about nostalgia and what got us into wrestling and just, fantasy booking and just doing all kind of other stupid shit that, not your normal podcast, wrestling podcast would do. So, I mean, how do you feel, reaching 100 episodes now? How your podcast is changing, how you made your podcast your own?
I feel fulfilled. I think that's the best word to say. I feel like I've accomplished something. I feel like I made a lot of progress. I feel like I got a long way to go. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I'm reaching a destination and a goal. I think I'm getting there. Because I can see the growth now. I can see the light past the tunnel in terms of how it's a particular place I wanted my podcast to get to.
Yeah.
And in many ways, I've surpassed that. Like, I can remember the first year of doing the podcast and getting only 10 listens. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you the last time I've gotten 10 listens. And that's not me bragging. That's just hard work and determination, and I'm very thankful for that. And I'm appreciative to anybody who listens to my podcast and gives it one listen because I know that it came from hard work and determination. And I'm glad that it's showing. I'm getting a response for the podcast. Like I did a series about America and the state of America, our country right now. I talked to different races, different people from different backgrounds about how they feel about America and the whole Donald Trump election thing and things like that.
Yeah.
And those episodes, because it was a 4-part series, those episodes did so well, not only in terms of downloads and listens, but in terms of response. Like, it was a time when those came out, because they came out a couple months ago, where almost every day I would have somebody message me. At least 1 or 2 people message me about that episode, ask me questions, 30-minute conversations over Twitter about the episodes and things like that, and them giving out suggestions or them saying, "Hey, I was really enlightened by the episode, and I felt like I made a difference." And that's what this is about to me. where I can put something out in the world that's powerful enough people say, you know what? That mattered.
Yeah. Word. I can dig it. But the growth and everything you recognizing from where you came to where you are now, a thing that I often like to ask podcasters or anybody else that comes on the show that, you know, has a particular thing that they do, where would you like to be, or where do you see yourself in the next 2 to 5 years if you're still podcasting, or, you know, if that's even your goal for 2 to 5 years?
I want to be as successful as possible in terms of podcasts. I want this to be my full-time job. And I say that because I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately in terms of how people have been talking about, especially Joe Budden. Mm-hmm. Joe Budden's been talking about this a lot, how there are a lot of people out there who are trying to figure out how they can get money off of podcasting.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily talking about like us podcasters.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people who are higher up than us, who people who are like the Spotifys, mm-hmm. the bigger companies like that, because they're seeing podcasting become a bigger brand. So they want to see, almost like the music industry, they want to see how they can get their cut from that bigger brand that is podcasting. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we as the independent podcasters should not only be aware of that, but should start getting ourselves ready so we can reap the benefits of our hard work.
Yeah.
Because you can see it now, because there are a lot more people who are getting the podcasts who are bigger. Like Ellen, like Oprah. You have big stars who want to do podcasts now because they're seeing it's the next big thing.
Yeah. Now, I mean, with that being said or whatever, I mean, how do you think that's going to trickle down to us?
I feel like having these bigger names getting the podcasting is good because it brings more exposure to it. But what I'm also feel like is like, I want people to get to the point where they can find shows like yours and mine's and see that we've been doing it for a while and we're seasoned and they start giving us the love that we deserve in terms of our hard work. And I think it's going to happen. I think people are going to start recognizing our shows more because, like I said, a lot of these celebrities are doing these podcasts and a lot of them are not going to, and at this rate in time, they're not going to continue doing them because they're going to realize that podcasting is the one. It's hard work, it's consistency, and two, when you're doing it, unless you have some type of deal, you're not making money off of podcasting.
Yeah.
You're not retiring off of podcasting dollars. Unless you got some type of deal, like Joe Rogan or something like that, you're not getting podcast dollars and going to be able to retire off of.
Yeah. And, you know, it's weird or whatever. I mean, it's just like, for us, you know, starting from scratch, you know, trying to figure out what cords to buy for the mixer or what microphone to get, looking at YouTube tutorials and, you know, trying to upgrade your equipment slowly but surely, put money away, pay your subscription fees and all this stuff. I mean, I have a appreciation for this shit as to where somebody over there at the top, like how you was naming names and everything, they could just walk into this motherfucker and be like, all right, here's my audio. They'll pass it to another motherfucker that'll edit it for them and do all this and put bells and whistles all on that bitch and put it out to the world, you know, via all these other, you know, avenues besides what we have. And I think that fucking sucks to some extent. But like, once I get there, you see how I say once I get there.
Yes.
It's going to be all that much sweeter because I know I worked from the bottom instead of had the shit handed to me.
Yeah, and I think to add on to that, I think celebrities are starting to realize that social media is playing a big part into our future in terms of how you make money and how people see things. Like you have shows, and this is not knocking the show at all, like The Red Table with Jada Pinkett Smith doing her show. That's basically a social media show.
Yeah.
And people are responding to it because Jada Pinkett Smith is a huge celebrity. Mm-hmm. And honestly speaking, she doesn't have to do that type of show.
Nope.
But she knows where the market is going. And just like when you're seeing Will Smith do all these Instagram videos and these YouTube videos, because he understands where the market is going and where the popularity is going and things like that in terms of how you have these guys like PewDiePie just appear, it seem like they pop out of nowhere because they become these big YouTube stars, but they worked on that. They've crafted that. They built that. Whether you like PewDiePie or not, he built that empire from scratch. And now people are, he wasn't a celebrity before he even started doing this. And now people are starting to see that, well, hey, I'm already a celebrity. I probably can go over in that atmosphere and do the same thing, if not bigger.
Yeah. I don't know. And it's a lot to do with luck as well, Some people just be in the right, some people just be in the right place at the right time,
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. And also is on the other end of that is about the luck you make, trying to put yourself in the right place at the right time.
I completely agree with that. I think that it's important for podcasters who are serious about it to take their craft serious and respect their work in terms of how know the value of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still learning that process today in terms of how sometimes you got to learn to say no to certain deals.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I've been noticing is, and I don't know if you notice it too, but there are a lot of companies out there trying to get podcasters to like, oh, we'll market your podcast and we'll put ads on your podcast and we'll give you money for it.
Yeah.
And when you look at that, and I've done it. I took a couple of deals doing it. I did it's like an app you could do it where they'll add ads to your podcast and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's kind of like Anchor and shit, right?
Yeah. But when you look at how much they're giving you
compared to what they get.
Exactly. It's a big difference. And that's what I'm talking about, what we need to be mindful of. Like having for example, my show has podcast ads from Disney.
Yeah.
Because of because of the app or whatever it is.
But you ain't getting no Disney money.
Hey, that's my point. So if my podcast is getting these ads from Disney and things like that, and I'm not seeing the Disney dollars, that tells me that the company that's making the ads is getting all the money.
Yeah. I don't know. How, as far as advertisers and sponsors and shit go, I mean, what's been your approach to that? It comes if it comes, or have you actively been searching for any of that?
It's been coming. Well, until now, it's been if something comes, it's dope, and I'll do it if I need to do it, or not do it if I need to do it. But now, since this episode's coming out after episode 100, I can tell you straight up what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I took my podcast to Patreon.
Oh, okay. Word.
So I got a tier on Patreon where it's $25 and it's only for 2 people.
Yeah.
And you can sponsor the show.
Word. I got you.
And I will do ads for you just like a real live ad, sponsor you on Twitter and things like that. And just, it's more, I think it's a cooler way to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah, because you sign up for it, and whatever it is, maybe if it's your podcast or whatnot, I will promote it like it's one of the big time things, like it's Blue Chew or something like that.
Blue Chew, big time thing.
Every podcast has Blue Chew right now.
Shit, shout out to Blue Chew. You don't sponsor me, motherfucker.
Yeah. But I think it's cooler to do it that way.
Yeah.
To just reach out to your people and say, hey, you do such and such and such. Hey, you get this tier on my Patreon and I will sponsor the shit out your product.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a decent following and your name will be out there because of that. And I think that's one of the ways to do it in terms of podcasting.
Yeah. Now, you just going into the realm of Patreon?
Yeah, I took the podcast to Patreon. I'm letting it up to the fans. Like right now, it's not out yet. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm successful or I'm a huge fucking failure.
But this is the thing I wanted to ask you about. Because I get what I get. And, as far as the Patreon thing, I was like year 2, I was back and forth about the shit. I was like, yeah, man, why am I charge people some money for some shit that I'm doing for free, essentially? Yeah. But I looked at it as either you do the shit or you don't. Cause I'm not paying any fees. I'm not paying for the shit. you know, there's nothing extra coming out of my pocket for me to have a Patreon account, you know? And then, you know, if I have people that support, then I do. If I don't, I don't. You know, it doesn't hurt me either way. But, you know, the ones I do have now, I appreciate very much. And it's just like sometimes, cause like I have a small amount, cause my Patreon hadn't been around too long out as far as I can remember, but it's just like for the small amount I got now starting out, it's just like, I feel like I'm not doing enough for that small amount and everything. And then like trying to do big things for the show as is and trying to do the other side podcast and, you know, everything else in life, you know, I feel like I'm kind of not living up to the Patreon shit, but you know, if something was like to come more of it, and you know, I know I had to be invested to it because I'm kind of obligated because motherfuckers is giving me money.
Yeah. And see, that came up to me when I was first thinking about it. So I felt like, why don't I just hit it with a shotgun blast? Mm-hmm. So the first day the Patreon goes up for my show, 4 new shows are going live.
Word.
Not Delvin Cox Experience, 4 totally different new podcasts. Mm-hmm. I've already recorded, already ready to go. 4 new audio and video podcasts, already ready to go. So if somebody signs on the Patreon, that's the first thing they're going to see. Plenty of content already. That's like 5 hours of content.
Word. Right
there. And I'm doing a contest giveaway for it as well. I'm giving away like PlayStation cards, Nintendo Switch cards, Xbox Live cards.
Yeah.
And also I got one of my friends who's an artist, the yard sale artist, Jared. He goes by Jared, the yard sale artist on Twitter. He's giving me some 4 art prints to give away.
Cool.
That are really dope.
Word. Yeah. Cause like I've been making shit by hand and sending to people and, you know, making sure I'm doing stuff for their birthdays and everything and, you know, writing them actual letters with my hands and shit. And I know fucking typey print shit, you know, so
it's not easy.
Yeah. It's more personable, you know, with me or whatever. Cause I feel like you giving something to me and I shouldn't just like have something manufactured to give to you. You know, it should come from me.
I completely agree. And that's what I've been trying to do. And it's like I said, it's hard. It's nerve wracking.
Yes.
Because I've built it up. Like I know you've seen the whole 5/23/2019, and that's the big announcement for like, hey, it's a Patreon. There's a whole bunch of content on there for you guys to look at. And hey, this is what I'm doing. It's not just the Delvin Cox Experience on there now. It's the Fire Brigade, where you want to hear me talk shit with a bunch of my friends and talk about current events. It's the USA to UK podcast where me and somebody from the UK talk about the differences between America and the UK in terms of everything. It's the Retrospect podcast where me and a friend or a random person from Twitter just talk about a major event in history, whether it's the Tyson fight or the Rodney King verdict, and talk about how it affected us at that time and look back on it and say, hey, was it really as bad as it was, or was it more of just a thing of the times? And one more thing I have on the Patreon that's another big part of it is the fact that it's a podcast spotlight, which I'm very proud of. It's basically what it is you know how the Patreon has for patrons only, or your tiers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The podcast spotlight's gonna be open for everybody.
Yeah.
But what it's gonna be is every month I'm gonna spotlight a podcast that's not mine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the intro for it. I'm gonna have it on my Patreon so people can go listen to that podcast. If they like it, they can continue to subscribe to that podcast. Mm-hmm. And they'll find it. And just by signing on my Patreon, they will find a new podcast to listen to every month.
Word. That's cool.
Because I'm very big in supporting independent podcasters and helping us all grow. Mm-hmm. Because I really want to see podcasting become a thing where the ones who work hard at it get rewarded for that hard work.
Yeah. And, you know, since moving here to Houston, man, it's just like, I didn't have so much that in, because I started the podcast in Missouri where I was stationed at before I got out of the military. And it's just like, it was small, bumfuck place, you know, armpit of Missouri is what I call it. You know, so there wasn't too many people that I was aware of that was doing podcasts. Now I'm here in the big city of Houston, and there's like a lot of motherfuckers here doing podcasts and some kind of social media or whatever and whatnot. And there's a group of us just here trying to, do meetups and have freaking little events for all of us to get together and just hang out and just fuck off and do podcasts and do whatever, man. And
I know quite a few friends, and I got quite a few friends in Houston who do podcasts. The Bearded Idiots, I think they're in Houston. I know they're in Texas. I think they're in Houston, though. Okay. It's a few of my friends I know that do podcasts are out in that area.
Word. You have to.
That's a good area to do podcasts, to say the least.
Because, a lot of us in that same little group was just at the comic book convention here 2 weekends ago, Comic Palooza. And out of all the celebrities they had there, they had like Amelia Clark and, people from Game of Thrones, all kind of different other people that were there for the event. And I wasn't excited to see none of them motherfuckers. I just wanted to see the podcasters.
Oh, you just reminded me about something that happened. I went to an event down here last year, and I had that exact same experience where somebody came who was a fan of the podcast, came down to the event just to meet me.
Word, yeah.
And it's an amazing thing to happen.
Yeah, I seen that happen for somebody. The Cult 45 podcast down here. 2 of their listeners came to the show to see them do their thing, man. And I was just like, oh, that's so great.
Yeah. It's an amazing feeling. Like, to have somebody just say, hey, well, he messaged me like, hey, I'm coming down that way and I'm coming to meet you. Cause I think it was a Florida SuperCon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to Florida SuperCon. Like, you are? Okay, I'm going to Florida SuperCon just to meet you. And he, to his word, he went to Florida SuperCon just to meet me, just to hang out with me.
Word.
He was like, none of the other stuff mattered. I just wanted to meet you.
That's crazy, man. It's just like, I make my stuff for my merchandise and everything. And just to see my shit out in the wild, somebody actually paid money for something I made and they wearing that shit out in public. It's just like, it blows my motherfucking mind, man.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's just the response to see somebody like something that you made is one of the greatest satisfactions you can ever get.
Or even just not, just to support, Yeah.
It's amazing.
One of my hats made it on NXT TV.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's my shit, baby. But yeah, man, it's an amazing feeling. It's just like, just like the Patreon shit or whatever. I mean, that would be cool. Like, people want to support monthly. And once again, I'm very appreciative of the people that I have. But like, I'm almost like, I would rather you buy the merch than be a Patreon, man. Almost. Maybe you can do both. You can do both. I don't care. But like, I kind of feel like, I would like more of the merch to be going out rather than the Patreon stuff. I mean, even if it at the dollar tier, I mean, I'm fine with that. You get like 30 motherfuckers on the $1 tier, and that's damn $30. That's cool. I dig that. Or you can buy one hat for $30. Either or. Yeah. Pick your poison.
But I agree with that, man. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but man, we're gonna go ahead and wind it down, man. I appreciate you spending your time with me and whatnot and just jaw jacking. Yeah,
anytime, man. Anytime you want me to come on, I'm more than willing and happy to come on. And you gotta come to the Delvin Cox Experience now too.
Yeah, I'll come around and experience the Cox. But before we ride out, man, let everybody know where they can find you on social media and what you got going on and your plans and whatnot if you got any.
Well, since this is coming out after episode 100, find me on Twitter at Delvin_Cox. You find the Delvin Cox Experience on every podcast app you can think of, including Spotify. Just look up the Delvin Cox Experience, and it is right there. It's probably going to come up soon if you type in The Delvin. It's going to come right up. If you want to support the podcast on Patreon, you want to get a whole bunch of episodes of podcasts and videos to check out, go on patreon.com/Delvin Cox Experience, and it's right there, man. All the content's there. You want to be a sponsor of this show, you want me to holler out your name and sponsor whatever you got, man, just hit that tier or hit the dollar tier just to get the free episodes, man. Just check it out. I appreciate any listeners, whether you go on to Patreon or not. I appreciate anybody who listens to that podcast, man. Yeah. Thank you very much.
I'm still in that sponsor idea, so you know.
Oh, definitely. You gladly can take that idea, man.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we got all the things out there. We got all the social media plugs. And once again, appreciate you for coming on. And as always, with anybody that's been a guest of this show, the door is always open for you to come on back in to whether to promote future events, freaking your latest sponsor, or just to come shoot the shit.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right. And that was the man, Delvin Cox. It was great to get to sit down and talk with the man and pick his brain a little bit. And, it's always funny that, like, when I ask fellow podcasters, what was their gateway, into the realm of podcasting, just knowing about it or even starting their own. And it's always funny how it's always Joe Rogan or Kevin Smith. Majority Kevin Smith. But I don't know. I just quinky dink. I mean, they are pillars in the podcasting community and whatnot. So that would only make sense. I mean, even when I first started, that's what I started off listening to. And one of the driving forces behind why I decided to start doing podcasts. But as of this recording that you heard of, he was just about to drop episode 100. That has gone and passed. He's already on to episode 102 and whatnot. So once again, still congratulations. And if this is your path that you choose to pursue, as it sounds like it does from what we was talking about in the interview and whatnot, I hope there's 100 more to come and beyond that. Sorry to be a little bit short and whatnot. As I record this, my head is just pounding right now. I got the biggest of headaches and I just want to go get that remedied real quick. But shout out to Luz from the Houstonish podcast. She found my secret word in the last episode and whatnot. So now I got to hit her up with some free merchandise. She actually listened to the whole show from beginning to end, or maybe she just fast forwarded to the end. I don't know what she did, but she found the secret word in there, and I might start incorporating that into the show. I'll just put it out randomly throughout the whole thing to see if you can find it and whatnot. Because if I do it the same way all the time, people just learn the pattern and circumvent the system and whatnot. So yeah, it'll just a random word will pop up throughout the interview and whatnot. It could be at the end of the show, it could be at the beginning of the show. Hell, you know how I do. It's just random, baby. But anyway, let me get on out of here and nurse this headache. You can follow me on Twitter at It's B-Rob. That's ITSBROB. If you want to talk professional wrestling and any other general shenanigans, that's the place you do it. This show that you're listening to now also has its own Twitter account that you can find at 3R Show. You can find all the episodes or links to the episodes on randomrobcast.com. And also what you find on randomrobcast.com is many different ways to support the show via Patreon, Amazon links, or buying merchandise. Very appreciative of those who do the Patreon. And I'm very appreciative of all those who have purchased merchandise from randomrobcast.com. Also, you can follow me on Instagram to where I follow. I do follow quite a lot of people on Instagram, but you can follow me on Instagram as I walk through the hallowed halls of Walmart, talking the talk and shenanigan the walk. But also, another way that you can support the show, if you aren't to snuff on phones and whatnot, you don't have to give me any of your money. The most important way that you can support the show and any other show that you're listening to is by writing reviews. I would very much appreciate it if you get on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever allow you to write reviews, and use their rating system, 5 stars preferably, or whatever they give you, the highest. And if it's anything below the highest, leave some feedback. Give me the opportunity to make the show a little bit better and whatnot. I'm having some reservations on Patreon right now. I know it's a little stale, and once again, I do appreciate those who support monetarily month to month, but I'm trying to come up with some new ideas on what I can drop off in that thing. I'm thinking about doing a video diary and whatnot, because there is some things going on behind the scenes of the Random Rounds with Rob podcast that's not discussed publicly. And I don't have a problem discussing those things with those of you who subscribe to the Patreon and whatnot. So some video content there, and maybe some other show ideas. I thought about making wrestling is trash, and maybe even bring it back to Real Robinsons. And if Mrs. B Rob is down with it, make it an exclusive to Patreon. So if you're listening to this and you're hearing what I'm saying, if it's something that interests you, or if you have any ideas, I'm down for the cause. Hit me up in the DM. But with that being said, reviews are very much appreciated. Likes, shares, all the free ways that you can help support the show. I very much would appreciate that. And thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.